How you doing, folks? This is Crazy John in the van. My second segment. I haven't done one in a year. Figured to get back on the saddle. Not in a good mood anyways. I got thrown out of my nudist colony last month. Yeah, I put Viagra in the lemonade. But that's another story. Almost got hurt. Almost got hit by a car last weekend. I was jogging. Came to a set of lights. Said, do not walk. I ran across the street. A car almost hit me. Believable. Who am I kidding? I think of jogging, I need oxygen. But anyways, let's talk about biggest heartbreaks with the Red Sox against the Yankees. And there's two of them that I don't know, you could put them in a hat and pick them out, and either one would be fine. Would be the 2003 playoff game, which they had the Yankees by 3 runs in the 8th inning. And Grady Little kept Pedro in, which is a huge mistake. They ended up losing. And a lot of people don't realize they took a lot of emotion out of the Yankees. And the Yankees lost in the World Series to the Marlins in 6 games. And they were huge favorites. I don't think they had anything left after that series with the Red Sox. And it showed. They didn't look like the same team. But I'm going to go with the 1978 playoff game. The Red Sox won 99 games. Yankees won 99 games. Season ended. Got to be a playoff game for the division. Remember, back then, there were no wild cards. You won your division, you got in the playoffs. So, technically, the Red Sox and the Yankees were the best 2 teams in baseball, which they were. And they were in the same division, which hurt, because they were the best 2 teams. Had the playoff game. Ron Guidry, who was 25-3 for the Yankees. And I just want to tell you, folks, all this stuff's off the top of my head. Not reading it or nothing. I just got a good memory with some things, and I got a bad memory with other things. But that's another story. The Red Sox had Mike Torres pitching, who was a better than average starter all year. Well, in the bottom of the first, Kyle Yastrzemski, my idol when I was a kid, hits a home run. Then Jim Rice drives in a run in the 6th. Makes it 2-0. Yankees come up top of the 7th. 2 outs, and there's 2 singles. Mike Torres is still pitching. It's not like these days he would have been out of the game. Well, Bucky Dent hit a ball off his foot. This is interesting. This is very, very interesting. Bucky Dent hit a ball off his foot. 3-4 minutes went by. The trainer came out, made sure he was okay. Mike Torres was not taking any warm-up pitches for that 3-4 minutes. He allowed himself to get tightened up. Next pitch, Bucky Dent hit a home run that barely cleared the monster, ended up in the screen. 3-run homer, 3-2. What a lot of people don't realize, if you were to ask 100 people, 99 would say Bucky Dent. But who do you think had the winning hit in that game? It wasn't Bucky Dent. It was Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson hit a 2-run homer off Bob Stanley to make it 5-2. So the Red Sox, in the bottom of the 8th, they got 2 runs, make it 5-4. And it looked good. I mean, looked like they were gaining momentum, and they had a shot. Bottom of the 9th, Rick Burleson walks. Jerry Remy hits a line drive base hit out in right field. Pinella's blinded. He just sticks his glove out, and somehow the base hit didn't go by him. Now, this is interesting. There was 1 out. This is interesting. And this has been totally overlooked. Burleson didn't go to third base on the single. He wasn't decoyed. I understand you don't want to get doubled up. I totally understand that. But Piniella does not have a good arm. Next batter, Jim Rice hits a long fly ball to right center. Burleson goes to third. If Burleson was at third, he would have scored. So now there's Kyle Yastrzemski coming up with the man on third. Goose Goss is pitching. And Yas popped it up to Greg Nettles. Yankees went on to beat the Royals in 4 games in the playoffs. Beat the Dodgers in 6 games in the World Series. That was 1978. That was a tough one. I thought the Red Sox were the better team. They had George Scott at first, Jerry Remy at second, Rick Boston at short, Butch Hobson at third, who made 43 errors that year because he had bone chips in his elbow, and they finally lifted him the last couple of weeks of the season and put in Jack Brohammer. Had Yaz in left, Letty Lynn in center, Dwight Evans in right, and you had Jim Rice as your DH and Carlton Fisk as your catcher. That is a potent lineup, and they couldn't get it done. But the Yankees went on, and they lost in the World Series to the Dodgers. Interesting. You can talk about the 2003 Red Sox. I mean, granted, that was a 7th game to go into the World Series, so the game had more magnitude, I guess, than the 1978 playoff game. But the Red Sox had a nice lead in that game, and I'll tell you what got overlooked in that game, okay? I can't recall who the first batter was in the bottom of the 8th for the Yankees. But what happened was there was a pop-up to Nomar. I'm having a quick senior center moment here, folks. Just bear with me. Now, the next batter was Jeter. We're winning 5-2. 1 out, nobody on base. I just want you folks to YouTube this, Google it. Jeter hits a ball to right field. Trot Nixon went back. He probably should have had it. And for some reason, it never gets talked about. Go look at it. That was a very catchable ball he missed. And then there was a double. After that, the shit hit the fan. The Red Sox ended up losing 6-5 in extra innings as Boone hit a home run off Wakefield. That was a tough one. And again, the Yankees had no steam left. They went on to the World Series and lost, which was interesting. But that Red Sox team, Manny Ramirez was a total wrecking machine. Bad guy, by the way. Manny was a selfish human being. During spring training years ago, Manny would not go see the kids with cancer in the tents, maybe 40 feet from the home plate. Bad guy. Beat up McCormick, an older gentleman. He was a traveling secretary for the Red Sox. He couldn't get Manny some tickets. Manny slapped him. Bad guy. You don't hit anybody old enough to be your father. If you hit somebody old enough to be your father, you're a bad dude. Okay? Pure and simple. And that's what Manny was. And then he punched Youkilis in the dugout. Why? Nobody to this day knows why he did that. But he punched Youkilis in the dugout. But Manny was no bargain. A total opposite of Ortiz. Ortiz was something. Greatest clutch hitter I ever seen. 3 World Series rings. Walk-offs in playoff games. Walk-offs in the World Series in 2013. He hit like over 600, which was unbelievable. And the Cardinals manager kept pitching to him. I have no idea why. Ortiz was killing him. Then finally in the 6th game, when the Red Sox wrapped the series up at Fenway, he didn't pitch to him at all. He kept walking him. Well, Hustler's already out of the barn, pal. But Ortiz was the greatest clutch hitter I ever seen. Greatest clutch hitter. Yastrzemski would be number 2, and people say, why would you have Yastrzemski? Why? Never won a championship. He was in 2 World Series. Well, I'll tell you why. In 1967, the Red Sox had to win the last 2 games of the season to beat the Twins to go to the World Series. Yastrzemski went 7 for 8 with the home run and some ribbies. World Series come. They lose to the Cardinals in 7. They just had no answer for Bob Gibson, who was one of the greatest pitchers of all time. He hits a little over 400 with 3 home runs. 1975 playoffs against Oakland, he hits over 400 and makes 3 or 4 spectacular plays in left field, which stopped the Oakland dynasty, who won in 72, 73, 74, and then the Red Sox knocked them off in 75, went on to the World Series, and they lost to the Reds in 7 games, and that was the greatest World Series of all time. Yaz was clutch. Then in the 1975 World Series, I think he hit 310. Played good defense in left field. Then the 78 playoff game, he made the last out, but people forget he had a home run and a single. He drove in 2 runs. He drove in 2 of the 4 runs, and everybody forgets that. They just remember him popping up facing Gossage to Greg Nettles. But That was a tough one. But Manny was a bad guy. I always liked Youkilis. Youkilis never took a playoff, played it his butt off. I loved Youkilis. And he had a 4-year window, folks. He was a good player. Look it up. He was a 300 hitter. He had a few, he could hit some dingers too. Not a lot, but he hit a few dingers. You know, Nomar had a 4-year window where he was spectacular. Then he just lost it overnight. And we ended up trading him at the deadline in 2004 and getting Cabrera, another shortstop who there wasn't much of a hitter, but played excellent defense. And that's what we needed, because Nomar was butchering us defensively. And he was happy to go. He didn't want to be here anymore, because they almost signed A-Rod, and he acted like a little baby. Why'd they get A-Rod, and what are they going to do with me? Well, you know something? They traded you for possibly the best player in baseball at the time you got traded for, and a couple other guys, and you're complaining? You're complaining for? You're making a ton of money playing a kid's game. Wake up! Fucking shithead. My favorite Red Sox through those years, and they won it in 04, 07, 13, and 18. My favorite player was Dustin Pedroia. About 5'7.5", a little guy, second baseman, played. His lifetime average, if I'm not mistaken, is, I should know this, but I don't. I think it's 298 or 299. He's almost a 300 hitter lifetime. I think he won 4 Gold Gloves. Phenomenal player. And he's got 3 World Series rings. Granted, in 18 he didn't play a real lot, but he was still on the team. By then he was pretty. Machado went sliding in, break up a doubleheader, ruined his career. His knee was never the same after that. Machado was a no-good punk. Still is. He hasn't changed. But Dustin was my favorite player. Move on to the Celtics. Well, the Celtics won it in 2024. They beat Dallas in 5 games. 2025, they got to the second round, lost to the Knicks in 6 games. This year, total embarrassment. A total embarrassment. They had Philly 3-1 and then lost 3 in a row. They need a new coach. They come down. They showed Derek White was horrendous in that series. He shoots too much. He's not a great shooter, folks. He's a point guard. That's what he is. Okay, he's not a shooter. But try to tell him that. Jason Tatum looked good. Jason Tatum is folks. I'd put him in the top 12 players of the league, and the same with Jaylen Brown. But I mean, they've underachieved 2 years in a row. It's time for a new coach. They need a veteran coach that's been around for a while to straighten them out, because I don't think this coach has any control over this team. Just watching their offense, it's non-existent. Their offense is non-existent, folks. And that's just how it is. But yeah, I'm glad. I think I told you this last time. I'm not sure. I sold my business. Yeah, I sold it about a year, about 15 months ago. I work 2 days a week for the company I sold to. They're really good to me. I got no complaints. I read a lot more. I started taking up golf again. In the 90s, I was a 4 handicap. Every time I went golfing, I yelled, 4! It's another story. Yeah, the other day I was golfing. I hit a ball heading for a guy's groin. I yelled, 2! I'm an awful golfer. I went simulated golf over the winter. I brought my ball scooper. Okay? Awful golfer. I was never much of an athlete anyways. I was 6 years old. I was in a T-ball league. Always looking for base on balls. There was a hockey goalie when I was 11. See the burn on the back of my neck? That's from the goal light going on. Believable. But the summer's here. It's good. I'm a summer person. I don't like the cold. It's dark at 4:15. You get those snowy days. You can't go out. You can't go anywhere. You're like trapped in your house. Like house arrest, They should rename snowstorms house arrest. That ain't bad. I just thought of that joke. That's pretty good. But no, life's good. I'm a grandfather again. I'm a grandfather twice. I got 2 good kids. Everything's good. I stopped doing comedy about a year and a half ago because I got this condition called essential tremor. This ain't a joke. When I grab things, I shake, and it just didn't feel right. And what generally happens is when I start shaking, my legs get weak. So the last couple of times I did comedy, I barely made it through the sets, and I was coming home from Lynn after an awful set. I was in a chair with the mic in front of me, my hands behind my back. Had an awful set. And I said to myself, I had an epiphany. I said, I'm done, no more comedy. I never was that good anyways, but I had a lot of fun with it, met a lot of nice people. The comedy people are great. But I had a good run. I did it for 24 years. It was fun. I didn't make a heck of a lot of money. But, I had a lot of fun. I met a lot of nice people. It was a nice diversion for me for a while, But, yeah, that's about it. I'm trying to think. The Bruins got into the playoffs. You knew they weren't going to go far. Buffalo beat them in 6. Surprised with the Patriots. I mean, I'm surprised they had such a great year. But they laid such an egg in the Super Bowl. I mean, they got annihilated. Offensive line, Campbell, he couldn't hold an invisible person from tackling the quarterback. I mean, he was getting killed. The whole offensive line was getting killed. And Mazier had no time. You can't blame him. If you get no time, nobody's open. That's just how it works. You take a bad offensive line and you give them Brady, a Joe Montana, a John Elway. They're all in trouble. You got to have time to throw the ball. At least Elway could scramble. Montana could scramble too. Brady wasn't a scrambler. My favorite scrambler quarterback when I was a kid was Fran Tarkenton. Played for the Giants, and he went to the Vikings. He got the 3 Super Bowls and never won it. I love Tarkenton. He's a little guy. He's about 5. I don't think he was much bigger than 5'10", 5'11". He was scrambling all the time. He was a lot of fun to watch. And back when I was a kid, you got to remember, the New York Giants were on every week. So I used to watch him all the time. And I took a liking to him. Then he went to the Vikings, and they were in 3 Super Bowls, and every one of them wasn't even that close. One was fairly close. It was 16-6 against the Steelers. But folks, it wasn't even that close, okay? The Steelers just dominated the game. But Tarkenton had a great career. He got the 3 Super Bowls, But no, life's good. My wife's doing good. But again, get back to the Patriots. The Patriots totally surprised me in that Super Bowl. I never thought they'd get there. Don't get me wrong, okay? But when they beat Denver, the defense looked so good. I thought Seattle was going to have trouble scoring points, and they really didn't. Their quarterback played excellent, and their defense played excellent. If Seattle don't lose anybody, I don't know who's going to beat them next year. They're going to be tough to beat. But then again, when the Chicago Bears in 1986 beat the Patriots 46-10 in Super Bowl 20, I remember saying to myself, this team's going to win it the next couple years. And they never did. Never even got back. And they had they were loaded. I think they went 13-1 that year. Then they just swept right through the playoffs in 86. In 87, I do remember this. They picked up Doug Flutie because McMahon was hurt, and the Redskins beat him. And Flutie, I love Flutie to death. Don't get me wrong. He's a great guy. He's a gentleman, but he didn't play a good game against them. But my son came out with the book called 10th Round. Yeah, this was about a year ago. Here it is right here. It's about a fighter that's down and out. He was the middleweight champ. The book takes place in Lowell, Massachusetts, all through Massachusetts. He did good. He did good with the book. So that was good news. Here it is right there, 10th Round, Eric Pauly. Let me have a sip of my coffee. I'm starting to fall asleep. But anyways, I'm not in a good mood. My psychic went out of business. Her husband died unexpectedly. But we already touched on the Bruins. They overachieved. They got to the playoffs. They lost in 6 games to Buffalo. But you could tell Buffalo was the better team, What do you think of that crazy game the other night when the Knicks were down 29 points with about 9 minutes left in the third quarter? They came back and won game 4. That was amazing. It's funny. I went to bed. They were way down. And I said, this game's over. I woke up the next morning, I couldn't believe it. I Googled the game, and it said Knicks miraculous win, I think it was 106-105. Unbelievable how they pulled that game out. Now the Spurs are in big trouble. They're down 3-1, but they do have Game 5 at home. They win that, they could somehow win Game 6. That's going to be the tough one to win. I see the Knicks in 6 winning this thing. But they would have a Game 7 at home, which is huge. You know? Huge. But the Celtics I'm concerned about. The Red Sox, forget it. They got no offense. When you got Yoshida hitting 5th with the 250 average with 1 home run and 6 RBIs, you know you're in trouble. Trevor Story, in my opinion, was always overrated. He always did his damage in Arizona. Granted, he had a pretty good year for us last year. But all in all, he's been a major disappointment. Anthony, disappointment. And the general manager should be fired for signing Campbell to all that money. Campbell had 1 good week, and you give him $60 million. He's in the minors, he's hitting like 230 with 2 or 3 dingers. Oh, what? It's an embarrassment. Then he ain't giving Anthony all that money. Anthony's going to be a flop. Remember what I told you. He don't have the desire, you can just tell. You know, he doesn't have that, like that Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Jabbar, Yastrzemski, Ortiz, Schilling. They'd play, if you gave them $1 million a day, they'd still play their heart out. Okay, this kid doesn't have that edge to him. And I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I don't see it. I don't see it with this kid. But the summer's here, which is good. Probably gonna go to the beach tomorrow in the morning. I like to go to the beach alone. I get there real early. I'm up at 5:15. I get there to the beach around 7. Nobody's really there. Get a good place to park. I look at the water. I read, and I find it very, very, very relaxing. It's like my therapy, you know. And I'll stay there till about 10 o'clock. Then I'll head home. But today, right now, I'm in North Andover, Massachusetts, and right now it's about 93 degrees out and humid, but better than the cold, in my opinion. Everybody's different. I get it. If you like the cold, if you prefer the cold over the summer, I don't have a problem. Okay, but me, I'm a spring and summer person, pure and simple. I'll take the heat any day over the cold. I know this tonight is going to be light at 8:15 out. 8:15 is still light out in June. Love it. Totally love it. You know, but the Celtics I'm a little worried about. I just think remember, when they won it in 24, folks, I'm taking nothing away from them, but everything went right for them in the playoffs. They didn't play great teams to win the championship. Then Dallas is standing. A one-man team, Dallas, right? Pretty much. And we win in 5 games. The teams of the future, you got to look at Oklahoma City, the Knicks, San Antonio. Keep an eye on the Pistons. The Pistons are young, and they had a good year. But Cavaliers are getting better. They got that kid Mitchell that's a total friggin' scoring machine. That kid is excellent. Oh, is he good? But trying to think of some jokes before I hang up. Let me just think real quick. I'm trying to come up with a good joke for you before I leave. I've been thinking of some pretty good jokes. I ever tell you there was this girl in high school, I used to idolize her. Her name was Kim Smithson. For 4 years, she totally ignored me. 2 days before graduation, she calls me up on the phone, a landline. I'm showing my age, right? John, come over to my house. Nobody's home. Folks, she lived a mile from me. I ran a mile in 5 minutes. She was right. Nobody was home. Oh, God. I don't mind telling you, though, my senior year in high school, I was the smartest, most athletic, most handsome kid in my class. It's true. I was homeschooled. All right, folks, with that, I'll leave you there. I'll catch you down the road. Okay, you can have a good summer and everything. Take care. Bye.